you ever solved a math problem, gotten the exact right answer, but still failed the question because you didn't use the teacher's method? Yeah, welcome to the American school system. Let's talk about the biggest trap in modern classrooms, method over logic. You could find a shortcut that makes 100% logical sense to your brain, saves time, and gets the right result. But if it's not the exact step-by-step formula from the curriculum, 0 credit. Instead of teaching critical thinking, the system punishes you for thinking differently. It rewards memorization, not actual understanding. And why is it like this? Because the structure hasn't changed since the Industrial Revolution. Bells tell you when to move, desks are lined up in neat rows, you're judged by how well you follow directions, not how creatively you solve problems. We are living in a modern world with AI, flexible careers, and unlimited information, yet we're still taking standardized tests built to train factory workers. The focus isn't even on learning anymore, it's on surviving. Most students aren't studying to actually understand the material. They're cramming to pass the test on Friday just to completely forget it by Monday. We're measuring memory, not intelligence. If school taught us anything, it's how to pass a test, not how to handle real life manage money, or think for ourselves. It makes no sense, right? Anyway. Now, let's talk about modern bullying, because it doesn't look like what you see in old movies anymore. It's rarely someone shoving you into a locker or stealing your lunch money. Today, bullying is much quieter. Kinda like this, my gremlin. Wait. I'm reading my script. I lost where I was. Yeah, it's rarely someone shoving you in a locker or stealing your lunch money. Most schools actually don't even cost money for lunch now. Like most modern schools. Today, bullying is much quieter, much more psychological, and honestly a lot harder to prove. It's being intentionally left out of a group chat. It's someone making a passive-aggressive comment disguised as a joke. A lot of teachers are passive-aggressive too, and then calling you sensitive when you call them out. It's rumors spreading on social media before you even wake up in the morning. Back in the day when the school bell rang, you got a break. Now, because of phones, people carry the harassment right into their bedrooms. And the worst part, the response from adults is usually totally out of touch. They just tell you to ignore it or turn off your phone. But ignoring it doesn't make the rumor go away. And turning off your phone just isolates you even more, while everyone else keeps talking. When you do report it, you often get generic advice that doesn't fit real life, or worse. Schools handle it by putting both people in a room together and asking you to shake hands and make up. That doesn't fix the problem, it just teaches people to hide it better. Real strength isn't about toughing it out alone or pretending it doesn't bother you. It's about recognizing that someone else's need to tear you down says everything about their own insecurity and nothing about your value. Now, let's be real for a second. The education system isn't just failing students anymore, it's failing itself. Think about it. From the top down, teachers are burnt out, underpaid, and quitting in record numbers. Passionate educators who actually want to inspire people are spending less time teaching and more time drowning in admin paperwork, standardized test prep, and rigid bureaucracy. The system has become so obsessed with data and performance metrics that it forgot about the actual human beings inside the classroom. Instead of measuring real comprehension, schools measure success by test scores. So what happens? Students learn how to game the system just to get an A. Retention drops to 0, and the actual quality of learning collapses. The institution ends up grading itself on how well it runs an assembly line, not on whether anyone is actually growing. When the people teaching are exhausted and the people learning are completely disengaged, the whole structure starts to crumble. It's burning out its staff, stressing out its students, and completely missing the point of what education is supposed to be. Now, let's talk about how schools claim they care about student mental health, but their actions prove completely otherwise. Sorry, I'm by a dog and I'm allergic. Whenever stress levels hit an all-time high, the school's solution is usually a 45-minute assembly where someone tells you to drink water, get 8 hours of sleep, and try breathing exercises. But that exact same afternoon, you get hit with 3 projects, 2 exams, and 2 hours of homework. Can't preach wellness while actively maintaining an environment that burns people out. And just having that much homework when they're home and that many projects that they need to work on is burning out their creativity. It's wrecking it. And if you're actually trying to reach out for help, the system fails completely flat. I was going to make a joke there, but no. Most schools have one guidance counselor for every 500 students. They don't have the time or resources to actually listen or help you cope. Their main job usually develops into checking off schedule forms and pushing you toward the next grade level. Instead of addressing the root cause of student anxiety and burnout, like absurd workloads, ruthless grading policies, and relentless pressure, schools put a tiny band-aid on a gaping wound and call it support. They treat mental health like a trendy buzzword for their website rather than a real crisis happening in their hallways every single day. Now, when I was talking about mental health, which I'm going to stop right now, I mentioned creativity. So let's talk about how the school system actually actively crushes creativity. From the day you start kindergarten, you're taught that there's only one right way to do things, one right answer, one right career path, and one specific type of intelligence that actually matters. If you're great at taking multiple choice tests, the system calls you a genius. But if your brain works through art, building things, storytelling, or entrepreneurship, you're labeled as distracted or behind. Schools love to talk about preparing you for the real world, but the modern world doesn't pay people to just sit quietly and memorize facts. It rewards innovation, adaptation, and original thinking, the exact traits that get pushed out of you after your 12 years of being told not to step out of the line. Instead of helping students discover what they're naturally good at, the system tries to smooth down everyone's edges until we all fit into the exact same mold. Treats education like a one-size-fits-all factory belt, completely ignoring the fact that everyone's brain is wired differently. Now, because I was just talking about jobs and I mentioned jobs with the creativity category, let's talk about how the massive gap between what schools teach teach you and what you actually need to know to survive as an adult. You can spend years memorizing the quadratic formula, memorizing dates from centuries ago, and analyzing the symbolism of a green light in a book, but the second you step out into the real world, zero instruction on how to actually manage your life. No one teaches you how taxes work, how to build or protect your credit score, how to budget your paycheck, or how to negotiate a salary. They don't teach you your basic tenant rights, how health insurance works, or how to deal with a real life crisis. You're expected to figure out the most important financial and legal decisions of your life through trial and error or late night search results. Like, come on. It makes zero sense. We spend over a decade in a building meant to prepare us for the future, yet we leave knowing how to pass a standardized test, but completely lost in how to navigate basic adulthood. Now, because I mentioned jobs, let's talk about the adults at your school that do the jobs. Let's talk about why there's such a massive divide and sometimes total resentment between students and school staff. usually comes down to one thing: power dynamics and a total lack of mutual respect. Too often, staff members operate with a "because I said so" mindset instead of listening to why a student might be struggling, late, or frustrated. The default reaction is immediate hostility or power trips over small things like dress codes, bathroom passes, or wearing a hood. Now, I had a staff that was like this at my school, but my friends got her fired. She had two kids at the school. I'll call them Zach and Cody for obvious reasons. Zach and Cody. Anyway, she was racist, sexist, and I could go on and on. She hated us. She treated the girls like princesses, I swear. Cause like all this staff at my school are like girls. There's only one. I'll call him Mr. Oh, I'm trying to think the name of the Zach and Cody guy. I'll just call him Mr. M. Mr. M is the only nice guy because he's the only guy. Oh, the janitor is also so cool. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Let's continue. When staff treats students like problems to be managed instead of human beings to be understood, trust completely disappears. Students start viewing teachers and administrators not as mentors who are there to help them succeed, but as opponents they have to constantly dodge just to get through the day. Respect is a two-way street when a system relies on authority instead of empathy. Creates an environment where everyone feels hostile, defensive, and completely disconnected from each other. Now, let's talk about why grades are one of the most misleading metrics ever created. A letter on a piece of paper doesn't actually measure how smart you are, how hard you worked, or how deeply you understand a subject. It mostly measures how well you can memorize information for a few days and I can't read that, and it onto a test. The current grading system completely ruins the genuine desire to learn the second you put a letter grade on everything. The goal stops being, let me understand this cool concept, and becomes, what is a bare minimum I need to do to get an A? It encourages cheating, cramming, and taking the easiest path possible just to protect a GPA. Even worse, a bad grade punishes you for the process of learning. Learning naturally involves making mistakes, failing, and trying again. But in school, if you fail a quiz early on while you're still figuring things out, that score stays on your transcript and drags down your average forever. At the end of the day, a GPA is just a letter that tracks compliance, not intelligence or potential. Now, drop a comment below. Do you feel like your grades accurately show what you're capable of, or do they just measure stress? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Bye, guys.